Hey, what's going on, everybody? The Days of Future Past season is upon us starting tonight, so I thought I would take a look at some of the cards coming out, try to evaluate them, see which ones I think will be strong in the meta, which ones maybe won't live up to it. Something we can all look back on in a month and laugh at how wrong I was. So let's get started. Okay, the first card we have, the Season Pass card, is Nimrod. And Nimrod obviously fits into a Destroy Synergy deck. He's a 5 cost, 5 power card, so at base, not too strong. If you destroy him once, then he becomes 10 power, spread out over 2 lanes. He does come down on turn 5, so you're going to have to do some maneuvering to get multiple destroys out of him to really build up the power. People say Shuri into Nimrod might make a good play, and I thought about it, so I think this is the big play you want. This is the best I can imagine. Turn 2, you play Psylocke. Turn 3, you play Wong. Turn 4, you play Shuri. Turn 5, you play Nimrod, wherever. Now he comes out with 20 power. Then turn 6, you play Destroyer on the Wong, so he destroys twice, putting Nimrods just everywhere. You have 20 size Nimrods all over your board. That sounds pretty impressive. That's a little hard to set up though, right? I wonder how consistent it will be. You could also mix in other things, maybe like, why not Okoye or Forge, try to get just regular little buffs on them. The question is it consistent enough? Will it challenge the Shuri decks that are out there right now in their current state, where you typically need 25 to 35 power to win a lane? I'm not sure. It seems like it will take a lot of setup to really get a lot of value for it, but it looks fun. Looks like a fun card to build around and a fun card to play with. And I think that's what is always the best cards to include in these games. Something that doesn't overpower the game, but opens up a new deck, a new style of play. So I really like the card. I think I'll give it, like, we'll say, kind of feels like a 3-star card to me. Something that can be good, but needs some work. So next up, we have Master Mold. Master Mold is a 2 cost, 2 power card. He looks, from his art, a little more menacing than a 2 power card, but that's what we have. Card reads, on reveal, add 2 sentinels to your opponent's hand. So this is itself not a powerful play, but what it does is it disrupts your opponent's hand. It clogs up their hand with sentinels. You can't ever actually get rid of sentinels because they'd always put another sentinel back in your hand. So if it can just mess with their hand size, make them skip a draw here and there, that's really where the real power comes from. It's also fuel for Ronan the Accuser specifically. I like trying to make Ronan the Accuser work. I've made a video about him before. Now, in this Shuri world we live in, Ronan the Accuser just doesn't really get there in terms of power. 15 or 17 power even is not often enough. And besides that, I'm not sure how disruptive this can be. Don't forget that Sentinels are not that bad for tempo. So sometimes you're actually going to give your opponent some cards they're okay playing. So in that matter, I'm going to say it'll sort of struggle. It's meta dependent, right? If there's a big combo, something that needs cards to stay in hand for a while, this could be very disruptive. It could mess things up. Like it works against Mr. Negative because you don't play that many cards early. And maybe, they have to draw those cards into hand that have been negatized. So if you can fill their hand, clog their hand, and skip those draws, that wipes that deck out. The Shuri deck, you don't really clog up your hand. And I'm not sure, I don't have Thanos, but I don't think you have like giant hands, giant stuffed hands in that deck. So is this going to have like a big impact on the meta? I don't think so. I think it's more of a niche card you can sort of play with, try to make Ronan work. Maybe put it in like a junk deck where you junk up the board, you junk up their hand. It's cool. I like the card. I don't think it's going to be, a menace to the meta. Kind of in that 2.5-star range. It's cool though. I mean, I like the art. Next up, we have Negasonic Teenage Warhead. This card reads, after any card is played here, destroy this card and that card. It's a 3 cost, 2 power card. So it's sort of like another tech card, if you think of it that way. You can place it down on turn 6 if you have priority to sort of block a lane that you're winning in. Especially if they have 3 cards in that lane already, you can really prevent them from playing anything else. You can also use it in destroy decks to sort of proactively destroy your own stuff. You can play this on turn 4, and then on turn 5, play your Nimrod there to get that first Nimrod destruction. So I think it's a versatile card. With that said, it can be countered by people who have cheap cards. You know, you can play a Wasp here to detonate the Warhead before you play something else. You could play any cheap on reveal card like an Iceman or something where the body on board doesn't really count. I think the power level will be in check. I think it's another sort of a tech card, an option card, something you might intentionally put into your destroy deck to get those guaranteed destructions. There's sort of sometimes a shortage in destroy decks. Like, it's hard to always draw Carnage, always draw Deathlock, so that might be where this card finds its niche. But I think it'll have its use, and sometimes, you know, you can put that landmine down, they drop their Taskmaster or their Red Skull there, and you end the game on the spot. So it's a cool card. I'll give it a 3 stars, right? Infinity Gems also counter it though. Like, I feel like this might be a card where the big brains really can make it work in exciting and awesome ways. Stupid hair is so hard. It's one of those cards where I feel like the big brain people are going to get a lot of value out of this. And then average guys like me, maybe it's always a little clunky, but you know, cool card. Now this is an interesting one because all of the information that I had up until literally today, the day of launch, Kitty Pryde was going to be a 0 energy card, a 0 power card. But then today in the in-game like announcements, it's shown to be a 2 power card. So what she does is you can return her to your hand at any time to gain 2 power on her. It was confirmed on Twitter that you can pull her into your hand and then play her again that same turn. So you could play her up to 6 times if you have her on turn 1. So that's obvious synergy with cards like Angela, with Bishop, with the Collector. Any card that powers up every time you play a card, you can just keep playing Kitty Pryde over and over, keep buffing those cards up. So that's pretty cool. She also just reminds me a little bit of Sunspot in that it's a way to sort of round out your curve, play, you can convert that extra energy a turn into 2 more power. You can also move her from location to location, so you can sort of mess with your opponent a little bit. They'll never know where Kitty Pryde is going to be at the end of the game if you can, keep pulling her back and playing her again. I also think that she's a strong play in Lockjaw decks. She's a cheap card that you can play on Lockjaw, and she's also a card that if you pull her up with Lockjaw, you can just pull her right off, put her right back down, get a new card. So it's like a safe inclusion, sort of the way Nightcrawler is in Lockjaw decks sometimes, just as an insurance for if you get the bad pull. If you pull your Nightcrawler, you can move him off the lane, get back to work. Kitty Pryde serves that function really, really well. In fact, even better, because you can just pick her up, put her right back down, send her back, have Lockjaw go fetch a new card. So I think she is very versatile, and I think the base 2 power version is actually really strong. Maybe the 0 power version you need sort of more in like specific situational decks. As 2 power, I feel like she could just be challenging as like the best 1 cost card in the game. I don't know if she takes that spot from Sunspot, but I think she's right up there. Just really versatile. You can change where she goes. You can get extra power from the synergistic cards. She seems really strong. I'm going to give her, I feel like 0 power her, 4 stars, 2 power, maybe 5 stars. Hard to say. I don't know. We'll see. Last but not least, I just want to talk about this thing. Also, just came out in the announcement today that they're going to test this season, rewarding 5 times more bonus cubes every time you reach a new ranked tier. So that's every 10 ranks on the ladder. A lot of people have complained that the ladder really can be a grind. That's a long way to go. Even if you get to infinite, go back to 70. It's a long grind. Overall, I think it just makes the ranking up on the ladder a bit less of a grind, and I think that'll be welcome for all players. So a nice welcome change with the players in mind. Not bad. So that about finishes it today. I can't wait for the new season to start. What do you guys think about these new cards? Do you think I'm wrong about anybody? Do you think there's something that I've missed? Let me know, please, in the comments below. But thank you so much for watching, and keep snapping.